All right, we'll give it a minute for everyone to join and then we'll get started. I was telling everyone backstage that in the TMC newsletter today, there is a porch light lemonade recipe for it is a bourbon drink, which those who know me know that that's my fave. And I was going to try to make one, but I've been in back-to-back meetings and didn't have the opportunity. But we might even get Amy is behind the scenes. Amy, maybe we can post the porch light lemonade, both the virgin and the high octane one in the chat. I was like,
Jody, what's
I'm like too empty. This is what I got going on, and they're
yeah?
both empty.
This is very clear, but it's boring clear. Just so you know.
Boring here as well. So.
Yeah, Jody, what's your go-to bourbon?
Every day is Angel's Envy. I have a Willet right now that is a little higher end that is in the pot still bottle. That one's really smooth too. But every day it's Angel's Envy. Well, I mean, I don't drink every day, but
Taught yourself. So good.
I would like to, but I have a day job, so
Yeah.
I'll have to delay that for retirement. All right, everyone. I think we got people still logging in, but we will go ahead and get started. So welcome to the SIP. We're here to serve up bold ideas, real talk, and caffeinated collaboration. It's less about the broadcast and more about brainstorming over coffee or whatever it is that you have in your cup. We believe that when mortgage professionals get together, big challenges turn into shared wins, and today's episode is a perfect example. This episode is brought to you by FinLocker, an all-in-one financial fitness app and proud TMC partner. Happy to have you. And joining Team FinLocker is the none other than Brian View, the president and COO. And I looked at his LinkedIn profile and he has way too many like jobs for me to possibly
don't go through there.
to possibly run through all of them, but does have a great pulse on the industry. And with him is Alice Lund, who is the division vice president at Leader One Financial, a powerhouse in business development and passionate advocate for financial literacy, which plays really well into our conversation today. So we're thrilled to have both of you.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So let's jump in. Hopefully everyone's had a chance to grab their beverage and have sips while we get started. Please feel free to post anything in the chat. Although I tell you that I never really have time because it's so fast-packed to react, but please post any questions or thoughts in the chat for the rest of the audience members would be helpful. Brian, let's start with a quick take. What's the big problem that FinLocker solves and how does it fit into the mortgage journey?
Yeah, I would characterize the loan manufacturing process as the loan manufacturing process that typically starts with at point of sale when somebody raises their hand and says, I'm ready to apply. We're really good at that as an industry and as originators of taking those hand raisers and getting them quickly, seamlessly, and into a great experience. That's like table stakes for the industry. What we've worked on is the stuff that happens to the left of point of sale, right? Where I've talked a lot about this concept of point of thought, and CRMs are a great strategy for managing data and creating cadenced type campaigns to stay in front of those prospective home buyers. But I think there's more that could be done to meaningfully engage those prospective home buyers. And what we've engineered is this consumer financial fitness experience that combines tools like budgeting, goal setting, spending analysis, credit improvement, even embedded real estate search. And then on top of that, the data that comes from the engagement of those tools, we build these kind of curated, custom persona-based journeys, if you will, that guide a consumer who's not yet ready to a place where they can confidently with clarity, be ready to apply. We're not a pre-approval platform. We're not a pre-qualification platform. We're helping lenders and loan officers get to consumers earlier with modern technology tools that they're going to use anyway. And then what I like to say is when a consumer gets into the Leader One, Manifest with Us app, which is powered by FinLocker, that consumer's now in that ecosystem, and we've effectively put a moat around that prospective home buyer so that Alice and her team can do their magic, which is, to lean in with big hearts and education and help prepare the next generation of home buyers.
Right. And that plays right into Alice's passion for financial literacy. So completely makes sense. I'm connecting the dots for the listeners because it just clicked in my head, even though we did a prep call. But I now understand with Alice's passion why she's fitting for the conversation. But Alice, give us your quick backstory. What's your role at Leader One, and how did FinLocker make its way into the Leader One toolkit?
So I started in mortgage in 2003, was always a referral-based loan officer, and was in the business until 2009 and took a little decade break. So followed David Hopper, who is one of our two division owners, around for about a decade, and kept in touch with him and joined him in Leader One Financial back in 2019. I thought I would be just going back into just originating, but turns out I've really got a passion for business development and coaching and leading and education. So I have graduated into division vice president and lead a team that does around $100 million in production a year. So we're a high volume team. We don't use any leads, so it's all referral based. We're that local community originating team that really wants to engage our realtors, our partners of all kinds. And David actually had met Brian, I think connected through LinkedIn, and said, he was really interested in the platform. I think at Leader One, we are always looking for a unique but meaningful differentiator. And I think that is, the immediate impact that the FinLocker app and our white label app is called Manifest with Us. The immediate impact it had was that we had this differentiator, and it really truly had value. It had value for our partners. It had value for our clients, because as Brian said, it's those long stage home buyers that you really want to be able to follow through the process. And the mortgage industry as a whole has not done that great of a job at nurturing and keeping, like Brian said, a moat kind of around those clients. Not only that, and I love our realtor partners, but of course their financing really needs to be lined up, figured out before they can go start shopping for homes. So having a tool where you can get to the client first and really be nurturing those clients, and then have pre-approved clients that you can deliver to your excellent realtor partners to be able to help. And so we developed our app starting about 1.5 years ago. That was an incredibly fun process. I know that there was a lot going on behind the scenes, but Brian and his team made it so fun. And to be able to develop something and to put our own personal branding on it and really to have this to offer has been a game changer.
And Brian, we know that, if you want loan officers to do something, it's like you have to do it for them. And they know that this financial literacy aspect is, something they need to be doing, but they don't even know where to begin. I heard a loan officer say FinLocker is literally the best tech that he has seen over 2 decades. What is that clicks so well with our frontline loan officers in the industry?
Yeah, I know exactly who that loan officer was. And I remember when he shared that comment, and when we talked about it, I followed up with him and we talked about it, and I already talked about this, right? You got the loan manufacturing process, I don't know how much better we can make that. It is kind of what it is, right? And his point was that he had not seen anything developed commercially for the everyday loan officer that was in front of point of sale. And so this was all, I remember the comment because it was on the heels of Redfin Rocket kind of announcement. And then of course now it's Redfin Rocket, Mr. Cooper, right? And what he had kind of put together in his head was, and I'm speaking from his perspective, I need to figure out, how do I get to consumers who are just thinking about getting ready to buy a home, right? And Alice will appreciate this. He's also part of the First Home IQ platform. So his strategy was all about leveraging his heart, which Alice does the same thing and her team does the same thing, and the content, the education content provided by First Home IQ. And for him, what brought it all together was the app now is like the takeaway, the tangible thing that I can provide that consumer that I'm educating and I'm pouring my effort and energy into. But now the app is kind of what connects us for the 3, 6, 12, 36 months that they may be going through this, this readiness experience.
So it's not only meeting the client where they're at, it's when they're there. So really gives that aha moment to originators. And Alice, do your loan officers share the same sentiment? Why do you think that this resonates so well with them?
Well, I think, going back to the mortgage industry's, I guess, treatment of and options for someone who, for whatever reason, is not ready today to apply, just really, having that conversation out, in the public with our partners, with our clients, saying, we don't want to talk to you on the day you're ready to buy the house. That's the biggest investment you're ever going to make. We don't want you to come to us that day and say, what now? We wanted to talk to you a year ago, and to, educate consumers and let them know that the time to speak with a loan officer isn't when you're ready to apply. We want to be part of the preparation, process, so that you can go into, that time where you are prepared to buy a house, feeling completely confident and at ease and understanding the plan. And I think a lot of consumers, like Brian said, getting ready to get ready, they think that what they should be doing during that time is going on Google and like going in this just sea of information that's just online. It's not personalized. You're not working with, a local mortgage advisor. So the reason I think our loan officers have really adopted the technology and believe in it is because it never felt good to us to not really have that offering that we felt really proud of, to engage those clients that either aren't ready because they don't have 2 years in business, or they're going to move and that's not where they're going to be buying a house, or they need to work on their credit or save money or whatever it is. There's so many different reasons why it's okay to continue preparing. But now we're not sending someone off to just to our credit recovery, person. We're not advising them and putting an an Outlook reminder to call them in 6 months, or putting them on a drip campaign.
And Alice in particular,
we're really engaging them in a tool that we've developed.
If we were to go back and look at our last 18 months of
and that's
product development,
connected to us,
almost
through,
everything we've done has been from the voice of our partners, our clients.
66%, I think it is.
We are an active listener to
enrolled in this program,
our partners and clients, and that's kind of evolved, and that's how we've evolved our products.
Checked in with it, so it's truly a tool that we know we're not only feeling good about offering, but
V1 version 1 of Buyer Vision's live.
Yeah, and I think this is why when people get concerned about the big companies becoming bigger,
which
and
gives the consumer
consolidating,
access to all
acquiring
of their
other
credit
companies
data,
further
right?
up in the channel.
We visualize the data
just like
so that we're not just
AI. The one thing
regurgitating
that
a
you
credit
cannot
report that the average
replace
consumer
is
can't
that
read.
connection. And
We
this
visualize their
definitely
data in
gives a
clickable
deep
ways so they can
connection
drill
within your
into specific
community to
accounts
be able to
and
provide for
see,
the loan officers
what's
to provide
impacting their
additional
credit score,
value,
whether it's
and just
utilization
really
or pay
makes
history, all that
people
stuff.
feel comfortable
We
and
have a
ease with
what
what
if,
might be
a
your
DIY what if
likely is
simulator
the
that's
largest
tied
financial
to the
decision that
consumer's
they'll
credit
make
data
in
and the
their
experience.
in their history. And
So there's a lot
so
of
much
value and a lot
I
of
mean,
reason why a consumer would
why
want to connect
don't
their
we
credit. They're
have
also
in high
automatically
school
enrolled
and college,
in credit
do we not
monitoring.
have
And the
more
consumer, this is all free to
education
the
around
consumer.
home finance
And
and
so
what it
we have
takes? But
access to all
kudos
this
to
rich
you.
credit
So
data.
Here's a
and
fun fact.
we get a glimpse of the
Before I
consumer's
really
financial
knew what
accounts when they link
FinLocker
their bank
was, I
accounts.
was
We
part of
understand their
the
income,
FHA
either what they
Velocity
tell
Tech
us
Sprint,
they
which
make or when they
ironically,
link
Brian, you were there
directly
too.
through that
And
Argyle
the concept that
integration.
our team came up
And so
with
buyer
was
vision
what you're
is
doing,
the
which
ability for a
is, you know,
consumer
understanding,
at a click of a
educating
button
consumers
to
based on
send
their
that
real
report
financial
directly to
picture
Alice in
related
real
to
time. So
their
now
income,
here's
their
the
asset,
practical
what
use
they
case
can,
that we're
what
seeing
they
today.
can afford on a
Everyone
monthly
knows
basis, budgeting,
the
and
cost of
also
credit,
being
especially the
able
cost of soft
to
credit pulls
ID the
is a
customer
pain point,
through
right?
government entities and being able to pull
And we're
that
not trying
data
to
in
replace soft
to be
credit
able to
pulls at
help them
all.
through that. And
What
then for
we've
that to
engineered
act
is
as a
a
financial
tool that
Sherpa for
instead of,
everything, for any
running
type of
every
lending
lead
that, you know, if
into
the
a soft
consumer is
credit
going
pull
for a home loan, then
immediately,
they have
for
that
those
with them.
squishy
So,
ones,
Brian,
the
how
good loan
far
officers
does
know in a
FinLocker
3-minute
travel with the
conversation
borrower?
if
Do
there's
you
anything
support the
squishy.
entire
And
mortgage
what we recommend
cycle?
is
Are
instead of
agencies and
going and ordering the credit
investors
pull for that
recognizing the
iffy type
locker
scenario,
without
send them to your
having
app,
to
your FinLocker
re-review,
app.
or
They
is
link
there
their
any rep
credit,
and warrant
immediately share
relief
buyer
that is in
vision.
play?
The loan officer now is going to get an at-a-glance view of the consumer's financial snapshot, including key aspects from their credit data. So their credit score range, a summary of their liability data, including balances and payments. And then I think the most important factor is we highlight any red flags immediately. So if there's late payments or any derogatory marks. So now if I'm thinking about this from a waterfall perspective, and I can avoid 3, 5, 8 single bureau credit pulls a month because I'm not just ordering them for everybody. There's some like real ROI in that particular case. So we're excited about that, and we're going to be building off of this buyer vision, because it's really, we think of buyer vision as the first coaching experience, right? So in order for the loan officer to have the most impact from a coaching perspective, we have to understand where the consumer is, and this buyer vision allows that LO and the consumer to be seeing the same exact data and then build their coaching strategy. Where we're going in like real time, and it's going to sound like every other technology, but we're focused on AI, and we focus on it in a couple different ways. We've been using it actively in our scripting and campaigning. So we've built literally hundreds of campaign kits that include talking scripts, text scripts, email messages that loan officers can use based on a specific persona to get them, to invite them into their experience. We have some AI inside the app today for the consumer, where we automate they can look at their ideal scenario, and then we create 4 immediate alternatives off of that. And then where we're really excited is and this will be, version 1 will be sometime in the next month and a half, is when the loan officer logs into our admin portal, the back end, our use of AI is going to tell them these are the next 3 consumers you should reach out to, and here's why on each of them. So get more prescriptive in helping the loan officers understand what's going on in their portfolio of consumers, and then literally telling them these are the 3 to call today. And by the way, here's a script you can use, and here's what you should say.
Giving me a conditional approval. Yeah. It's awesome. And then Alice, imagine that Brian handed you the FinLocker product roadmap and said, pick anything. What's your top wish list feature, either for helping the borrowers level up or giving LOs more firepower?
Well, I'll say 2 things, and I'll let Brian kind of speak to the second one. So the first one isn't really about the tech involved in the app, because there's already so much built out. I mean, there's things that we're not even using. There's document folders that you could have endless document folders. If you have multiple properties, it's a place to digitally store all of your invoices and bills and receipts and tax stuff, which is great. And like Brian talked about, there's a home search. There's all sorts of tech in there. I'm excited because I'm also a First Home IQ ambassador, and I love the community that they've built and the calls that they have to really kind of start to get the people who are engaged in their mission involved with each other and starting to talk about what they're doing in order to help engagement with their clients and how their process is working. So I know that FinLocker is already doing some of that, but I look forward to more interaction with the other companies and loan officers across the country country that are using this tech, because I think that there's a lot of power in the mortgage industry really getting around this as a whole. And all of us, education, financial literacy based loan officers really, there's a lot of us, but then, and yet it's a tight knit community. And I think, it's great to kind of continue to fortify our relationships that way. And then as far as on the tech side, I think it's called Loan Vision. It's brand new. Is that
Buyer Vision?
Buyer Vision. And so,
Yeah.
and I'll let Brian talk about that, but that's a piece of tech that just was rolled out and I haven't even jumped into it yet, but that was definitely on my roadmap and is exciting.
So Brian, you want to share what's on that roadmap, including
Yeah.
You should be talking about AI because it is going to transform the way that we do business, but it's great to be able to put the example. So it's not just the talk of using AI or like actually saying how you're using the AI and what the income will be. Alice, FinLocker helps with long-term readiness, and I know that that can be daunting. But how do you evaluate that when you think of cost? And do you have any borrower statistics? You mentioned the 60% come back to you, but can you just talk through how you look at the cost of FinLocker and how you look at what that conversion ratio, what that means to you at Leader One?
Yeah, I mean, I think the cost is, it's extremely reasonable. It's, very reasonable. There was a setup cost involved, but again, I think it's more, it was never really a pricing issue for us. It was the cost of not having something like this in place. What was your other question?
Well, I just asked, like, how do you look from cost, like, in with the conversion ratio?
Oh,
How do you
yeah.
measure return on investment?
Yeah, I think the ability for FinLocker to have that immediate impact as a differentiator. If you are a local referral based loan officer, you're looking for something to go out and talk to your partners about, tool to use, and like anything, it takes a little bit of time to kind of get rolling with stuff to make it a part of your process and to really ingrain that in your team as something to use and to train as something that you're going to be offering to clients. But we've started to see that return. I mean, I think we have close to we're approaching 300 clients that are a part of our ecosystem, and dozens of pre-approvals, multiple closings. And so the engagement has been fantastic. We wake up every day to emails from FinLocker telling us if somebody's credit has improved or if all of a sudden they've got their 4 stars and they're mortgage ready. So a lot of what Brian's talking about that they're building in with that AI for the loan officer, we're doing some of that manually now, but there's already automations in place, notifying us when it's time to reach out to clients. And so, having that in place and having, a reminder and a monitoring tool, not that the customer's using like Credit Karma, but that we're tied to, that's letting us know when their credit score is improved. It's a reason to reach out. It's a touch point, and the agents love it too. So it helps really keep them vested with us as their partners.
Yeah, so it absolutely just like it's an investment into the organization to keep your consumers highly engaged in communicating with you. I love it. If you have, we often ask like, who does the product work for? It sounds if you're lending, it doesn't matter if you're a depository or an independent mortgage banker, there is a space for you. So unfortunately, our time has come to end. So big thank you to FinLocker for fueling this episode. Brian and Alice, your insights today were very sharp and generous. Thank you for all of that insight. And to our listeners, if you love the sip, imagine 3 full days of this energy. TMC members, get those Boston spots locked in fast. If you're not part of the TMC family, please reach out. I'd love to show you how to participate in our conferences. And we will be back next Tuesday, July the 8th. Hard to believe that is next Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern time, and for the TMC insiders, and then for the entire industry on LinkedIn at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So until then, enjoy a porch light lemonade. Stay curious, stay caffeinated, and we'll see you next time on The Sip.